Hey guys, welcome back to the Respiratory Therapy Resource Center. So today's video is new grads jumpstart to the NICU. So what I've done is I've taken 5 of my Instagram posts where I gave out 5 clinical tips for new grads in the NICU, and I've converted it into a 1-page ebook for you guys to take with you. Just your 5 clinical tips and tricks, take it with you, free of charge. Get it on my website, respiratorytherapyrc.com, and it's for you. It's free of charge. You guys liked it so much on my social media accounts, so I was like, you know what? Let me just put it all together and hand it out so that you guys can always have that for your reference, okay? So as always, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, my other social media accounts. And don't forget to check out respiratorytherapyrc.com. That's where all my free ebooks are. You can go on there. You can download as many as you want. And without further ado, let's begin with new grads jumpstart to the NICU. Okay guys, so the first tip I gave out was clustering care. And clustering care is very important for the patient to not be stimulated more than they absolutely have to be. That means trying to time your cares as a respiratory therapist with the nursing cares that they're doing, right? So we want to do cares at the same time so we're not constantly going in and waking up the patient throughout the entire day, right? So we try to coordinate doing everything at the same time. Less stimulation for our patient means more healing can take place in the NICU, right? So the second clinical tip I have is every little bit counts. When I first started working in the NICU, I just realized that everything we did was in such small capacity because our patients are so tiny, right? They're 500 grams, 600 grams, 1,000 gram patients, right? So every dose of FiO2, we would go up by 1%, 2%, 3%. Obviously, if your patient is desatting significantly, then yeah, okay. A persistent desat, of course, give whatever you need in order to bring the sat up, assess your patient suction, do whatever you need to do. Blood. Taking 1 cc of blood is a bigger deal than taking 1 cc of blood from an adult patient versus taking 1 cc of blood from a NICU patient, right? So we're going to be like, do we really need to take blood? Or is this really indicated? Because they don't have a lot of blood, right? They don't have a lot of blood to give us. So that's a big deal. Medications, tiny, tiny doses. A little goes a long way, right? Skin contact time, right? So when you're checking the nose for breakdown on bubble Cpap, how long that pressure is building up, it's going to affect their skin, as well as other pressure points and sites throughout their body, right? Time in utero. Every little bit counts, right? Every little bit counts when they're in utero, right? So that is very important too. We want them to stay in utero as long as possible. Every hour, every minute longer that they can stay in utero will help them once they're out and born, right? So the doctors say, if you can hold the baby as long as you can, because even another hour is going to benefit the baby once they're born. So clinical tip number 3 is bubble Cpap is life, right? So it's super common, and a few things I've learned along the way with bubble Cpap in regards to my NICU patients are the stomach, the abdomen, right? So they usually will have like a nasal mask or nasal prongs, and this is going to be pumping that Cpap air. It's going into the trachea and the esophagus, meaning the stomach is also getting some of that pressure as well. So what do? If they have an NG, OG tube, make sure you ask the nurse to regularly vent that, okay? So that the stomach is not getting super distended with air. And sometimes if you go in and look at your patient and they're not breathing like super well and it doesn't look like they're taking very deep breaths, ask the nurse to vent the NG tube, and you might find that there's actually 15 cc's of air that was in the stomach, and then now they can breathe a little bit better because that is not pushing up on their lungs as much, right? So bubble Cpap, very, very common, very important. Q3 nose checks to make sure that their skin is not breaking down. Their prongs, if they do have skin breakdown with the nasal masks, you can switch to prongs, right? You can switch to prongs and then you can switch back to mask as needed. Follow your institution's policies and procedures regarding skin breakdown, regarding prong use and mask use, okay? Every institution is different. What I like to do for my noses is put a double layer on the bridge, right? So you put the actual Mepilex going down across like this, and then you can put a second piece on the bridge, just the bridge, because that's going to be taking a lot of the pressure, right? So I double Mepilex it, right? And as long as they're bubbling just fine, it shouldn't be an issue. And it's really good at protecting that bridge of the nose as well. Okay, so let's pause right here. So all I want to do is take a minute to show you my Etsy store and some shirts, some new things that I've made for you guys to take a look at, okay? Whenever you have a chance. Without further ado, let's take a look. All right, thank you for staying with me through the video up to this point. I just wanted to take a few seconds of your time to show you my Etsy store online, right? So I created this store. I just kind of started like diddling around with graphic design. So I've designed all of these products myself. If you go to Etsy.com and look up Respiratory Therapy RC, you will come across my store, and these are some of the products that I've designed. So I just wanted to take a minute, show you guys my store, let you know that it's there if you want to take a look, okay? So every now and then I'll post like for coupons and discounts. So if you like follow me on social media or Facebook or YouTube, I will probably be posting, you know, some kind of discount or coupon in the future. All right, let's get back to the video. I just wanted you guys to know that this was there, okay? Okay, so tip number 4 is noise. Watch the noise, watch your noise level, right? So that's tip number 4. Why? Because noise disturbs the patient, it disturbs their healing process, and you have to remember, this patient was just in utero, right? So noise levels, all of that stuff was very much down and out. Stimulation was not really a thing. Noise, being touched, all of these things, right? Like the baby's not used to that stuff. They were just in the womb, right? So you have to keep your noise level down, right? And also sometimes loud noises will actually rupture their tiny, tiny blood vessels in their head. So you have to remember that. So like sometimes we're working with the isolette, you don't want to slam the isolette doors closed because that can actually rupture some of their blood vessels, right? So they're super tiny. Try to keep the noise to a minimum. Have fun in the NICU in the right places, but if you're like right next to the patient, you know, try not to talk super loud or startle the patient or slam the doors on the isolette. So tip number 5 is ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This tip applies to any new grad, any person who's starting in a new ICU, a new unit, who needs to know where all the supplies are, the flow, the new policies and procedures. Regardless, this applies to anyone, right? Any RT, any healthcare profession, don't be afraid to ask questions. You're always going to have your preceptor, you're always going to have a team lead, you're going to have a charge respiratory therapist, and you're also going to have other senior therapists who I'm sure will be happy to help you out, okay? So don't be afraid to ask questions so that we can always have, you know, positive outcomes for our patients. So I just wanted to take a minute to tell you guys thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. Don't forget to visit respiratorytherapyrc.com and take this free ebook with you with these tips and tricks for your new grad jumpstart to NICU. Have a great day. Until next time.